Welcome back, everyone, paddle lovers around the world, paddle addicts, to the Off Court Podcast, episode 26, the paddle podcast covering all your paddle needs. Welcome back from wherever you're listening from, YouTube, Spotify, any other platform. Welcome back. It's lovely to have you here. We are your hosts. I'm Hugh, as always, joined by
Connor. What's up, guys?
Welcome back. Welcome back. Today, we have a special episode.
Yes.
We're going to do our sort of regular Premier Paddle overview of the FIP World Cup Pairs, obviously.
Or people who are dyslexic, I thought it was Paris like for 2 months, and we're in Kuwait all of a sudden. But yeah, as Hugh was saying,
we've got to cover that because big news coming in from the paddle world. Before that, though, we had the pleasure and the honor of getting a guest in today, a very special one. We had Nathan Young, who is attempting an insane and crazy thing, which is to play the longest paddle match in history.
A Guinness World Record.
Guinness World Record.
Trying to be broken here.
And they're going to have someone from Guinness coming in and, you know, making sure that they do reach those 41 hours of straight paddle. And guys, it's for an excellent cause. They're not just doing this because they want to break the record. It's for the
Childhood Eye Cancer Trust.
Child Cancer Trust Fund, I believe, or
just trust at the end of that.
Just trust. Okay,
we got it right on the episode. It's for a great cause, a great story. And Nathan and the other guys on the court really are driving motivators in that, and they want to give back. So if you're interested in that, please tune in for it. It's a great segment. We're gonna play it now, actually. Okay, guys, we are here. A little special segment for the podcast episode today. We have someone here doing quite an insane challenge, really. 41 hours of paddle, achieving to break a Guinness World Record here for the longest continuous game of paddle. Nathan Young, welcome to the Off Court Podcast. Thank you for being on our guest today. You are about, a week and a half, just about under a week and a half away from trying to complete this challenge. How are we feeling?
Good, nervous, and just about everything in between. I suppose the beauty's been that we've got so much to do, and still to figure out that I've not had too much time to think about doing 40 hours. Though we do, so it's a blessing and a curse. But we set out this weekend to try and do 12 hours. We didn't quite finish what we set out to, but I think we know just about all we need to know now about how hard it's going to be. So excited, but still a lot to do. So it's going to be a busy week and a half.
Yeah, it's no easy feat what you're trying here. And we want to hear all about it. We want to let our audience know as well. You know, it's a Guinness World Record having to do with paddles, so we're there. Nathan, when was the moment that you said, I think it begs the question, right, I'm doing this, I'm going to attempt to organize the world's longest paddle match? How did that come about?
Okay, so there's probably a couple of stages on this. So the actual inception of the idea started quite a while ago. I was just sort of doom scrolling through Instagram as we're guilty of doing. And I'd seen I think I'd seen a group is on there, I think it's Padel or on Instagram, and there's a group of people, I think it was about 18 months ago now, who'd done the same thing for 32 hours. So in my infinite wisdom, sort of thought, that sounds all right. I reckon I could do that. I kind of thought I'd never do anything ability-wise to break a world record, so I thought, what's next best? And endurance sort of ticked the box there. I started out. My best friend Benny, who's doing the challenge with us, he's probably my sounding board for everything. I mentioned it to him in passing. He loves paddle himself. He at the time just sort of said, yeah, sounds good. I'd do it. I think probably sort of suspecting it might never happen. So he was the first sort of thing that made me think, yeah, okay, we'll do it. And then as the sort of time had gone on, I'd started to mention it to a few different people. I'm quite guilty of having ideas and being sort of worried about what other people think of them and not quite seeing them through right to the end and what have you. But just talking to a couple of people, particularly in the paddle scene, who sort of really got behind it before we got to where we've got to now, sort of offered their support, help. And it was probably at that point, I went down to a friend's club opening in Birmingham. He had his grand opening. And we were sort of chatting about it there. He introduced me to the guys that sponsored our kits and rackets, George at Y1. paddle, and it's really him sort of saying, yeah, we'll get behind it, we'll support you, whatever you need, let's talk and let's make something happen. And it was kind of the train back from there was like, right, okay, let's try and make this happen. So that it's carried on over a bit of time, but I think it was the first couple of people that really got behind it that sort of said, right, here we go, let's do it.
That's fantastic. Yeah. I think because we're all paddle nerds here, essentially, at the end of the day. On paper, the idea of playing 41 hours of paddle seems like a dream, but I think the reality comes crashing in a little bit too on just the physical strain on the body.
Yeah, and the logistical aspect of having to organize that as well.
Yeah. And can you tell us a little bit on the sort of personal connection here as well? Because obviously, at the end of the day, yes, you will get bragging rights for playing 41 hours of paddle, breaking a Guinness World Record. But really, what is the main motivator here behind it? Because I understand the Childhood Eye Cancer Trust is a part of this as well and part of your mission here.
Yeah, so there's a bit of backstory behind it all. So I suffered from a rare eye cancer, retinoblastoma. I was born with it and diagnosed around sort of 2.5. So back then, sort of treatment of retinoblastoma was quite in its infancy. Knowledge around it was growing, but not quite what it is today. So I went through sort of a course of a couple of years of treatment, different bits and pieces, and it resulted in my left eye being removed. So I'm totally blind in my left eye, and because of the spread of the tumour, I'm quite severely partially sighted in my right eye too. So sort of Childhood Eye Cancer Trust, they looked after my mum and dad at the time as they were sort of bringing me up. Helped us relocate to London where I received all my treatment and everything there. We lived there on and off for probably about a year or so. And then kind of fast forward, you have this full circle moment. So my now eldest daughter, Izzy, she's coming to 6. She was born in 2019. And obviously due to my condition, we got in touch with the Childhood Eye Cancer Trust and they were quite sort of strong on, as soon as she's born, we need to get her checked out and sort of looked at as, you know, there's a 50-50 chance that she'll inherit the RB gene and suffer from the same. So she was born 2019, healthy to a degree. Unfortunately, sort of a month later, she was diagnosed with retinoblastoma too. So the first probably 2.5-3 years of her life, we spent to and fro into London and back as she received quite aggressive chemotherapy over that period of time to really try and combat it. I suppose what we were really lucky is all the work that Childhood Eye Cancer Trust do around research, around retinoblastoma, put us in a place where we got it checked early, the diagnosis came really early, and the treatment the proactive treatment really started from near birth. So it gave her the best chance really of coming out with a slightly better outlook than mine. So all being well, she'll retain a full range of sight in one eye, likelihood being she'll lose the vast majority of sight in one eye too. So her outlook will be quite a bit better than mine really. So I'm not a New Year's resolution type of person, but I did sit down this year and do things I wrote down was do something cool and raise some money for charity. Awesome. They weren't necessarily paired, but I think this has kind of qualified both of them. So this is really what it's all about. You know, I'm really lucky that I've got my best friend Benny doing it with us, who's grown up with me. He knows the drill with me, and our 2 other friends, Marcus and David, or Didi as we call him. You know, they're both massively supportive of me. We met those 2 through playing paddle. They've been really supportive of pairing up with me and tolerating my distinctly average paddle and sort of helping me grow and come on as well. So no, that's what it's all about. It's all about the raising money, but you know, I'm really lucky to have a team that have really bought into that as well. Yeah. So it feels really sort of close, connected, and personal, which is brilliant.
Yeah. How much money are you aiming to raise with this event, and how would the fundraising, what impact would it have?
So our aim's to raise £50,000. We set ourselves a pretty a pretty big North Star. So we're really trying to sort of crack that as much as we can. Impact wise, it's massive. It's a question in general. When people sort of ask me about CHECT, I to a degree struggle to answer because They're the only charity that are devoted primarily to retinoblastoma, the treatment research behind that as well. But it's just high impact families, so they don't receive government funding. The whole entity pretty much survives on the generosity of donations, fundraising activities like myself, and things the charity to put on to ultimately keep the lights on and keep people doing what they're doing. But probably the best way for me to sort of try and quantify how much it means and the impact of the money raised is really what they did. And I'm quite lucky. I don't remember too much of my own journey because I was so young, but very vividly remember pretty much all of Izzy's. But we had Izzy's diagnosis and COVID to tackle at the same time, to and fro into London, and amongst all of that. So the Childhood Eye Cancer Trust, they coordinated everything for us from the second Izzy was diagnosed. They put us in touch with genetic experts to explain exactly what the condition means, what her outlook likely is, treatment plans, everything from that. Through to the really granular stuff, which was how are you getting back and forward from hospital? Where are you going to stay given the chemo will last a couple of days? How are you going to navigate that with two of you because COVID meant only one of us could be in the hospital at one time or the other? So from everything from day one of diagnosis through to just the really granular day to day, how are you going to do this? What are you going to do? And pretty much coordinating us. And I suppose the other part's really quite a personal thing for me. But when Izzy sort of was going through her initial phase of treatment, I didn't deal with it particularly well. I think I sort of dealt with a lot of guilt, and that hit really hard for me. So they provided counselling for me, which allowed me to sort of try and figure myself out a little bit, and work through some of the trauma that I probably spent my life avoiding myself as well, I think is what came out of that. So it's a real support mechanism from start to finish. They've been there for me since I was born, and they're still there for me today. And it's just a real proud thing to be able to do something that we know will have a massive impact. But their impact to families is huge. They're a small team that work way harder than the sum of the parts to really help families. So it's a massive thing, and I suppose firsthand I've seen how well every penny spent and just how meticulously accounted for it all is to make sure as much goes back to families as it can, and it does.
Yeah. I guess we always forget with, diseases like these that it's not just about the research and the machines or the medicine. There's also a massive part that has to deal with supporting the patient, supporting the family. Wow. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I think when you first reached out to us, obviously our eyes went straight to like the 41 hours of paddle, the Guinness World Record. But then really when we see the motivations here and your personal connection to it, and the fact that paddle is also a part of that, it's incredibly inspiring and a brave sort of situation you want to put yourself in. And the fact that you've grown up with the support from the Childhood Eye Cancer Trust. You've seen the moments that maybe you and your daughter have shared as well throughout the years, and now it's the time that you said your two goals, that you want to do something cool and you want to give back to charity this year, and I think you've taken.
I think you're gonna manage. I think you've done it.
Yeah, no, honestly,
Yeah.
and it's incredibly inspiring, and obviously because we're a paddle podcast as well. That cross section of raising money, giving back to charity. We are curious, why paddle was the vessel for this journey for you. What was your sort of relationship with paddle, and why was that the method? You could have run a marathon, or you could have done anything that's also just as strenuous on the body. But paddle, why was paddle the choice here?
Yeah, I think it's a funny one because I think I first picked up a paddle racket in 2021. It's 2021, 2022 was the first time we played. It was actually my brother sort of dragged me and Benny, who's doing it with us, down to sort of what was our local outdoor centre. I think we were quite fortunate that we were one of the few areas that got courts quite early on. Albeit we've all turned into paddle snobs now, won't play outdoors unless it's sunny, hot, and everything else.
Yeah, but, we're professional complainers.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were quite lucky that just by proximity we had some courts and we were able to try it. But I think more than anything, what when I look at sort of life now and what I do typically in a week, I've always played loads of sport. Before paddle, football was my main sport. I probably play 3-4 times a week, and paddle's probably taken over that completely. But I think what it is I now look at my group of really close friends, and so many of them are through just playing paddle and completely chance meetings of we're just playing at club socials, mix-ins, random open games here, there, and everywhere. And I think it's just a sense of, we sort of, when I look at the group of the four of us doing it now, Benny and I, we've known each other since school, but with Marcus and Dee Dee, we met on a paddle court at a social, and we probably now, even before all this stuff kicked off, we see each other 3-4 times a week, and it's become like a massive part of each other's lives. So I think when I was looking for stuff that it could potentially do, paddle just became the first stop because of the sense of community around it. It is really prevalent. It's really growing, and we also thought it'd give us a really good chance at doing something in a space that people are really interested in at the moment. There's a lot of eyeballs on it, and people are really keen to sort of try it, learn more, grow. So it just felt like a real sort of natural thing, and given we're playing 4 nights a week naturally anyway, it just kind of
might as well try 41 hours.
yeah. Though I'm sure in about a week and a half time, I'll probably I'll challenge that statement and disagree myself. But yeah, I think it's just it's a really cool thing. Marcus, who's doing the event with us, and we're really lucky that he has a private court that we all use. He lets us use it. That's our home. That's where we play. Really fittingly, it's where we'll do the event. But it's become somewhere that we've just made so many really good friendships, and it just feels like a real honor to be able to do something with a group of great like-minded people. And though there's only 4 of us doing the challenge itself, and we'll be on the court for 41 hours, we have a core group of probably 15, 16, 17 people that all play there, and we're all a little family. And just for example, yesterday we're having the court resurface for the event. We're lucky some friends at Lee Spinners donated us some turf to re-turf ours. So we had a group of probably 7 or 8 of us yesterday ripping up an old court, rolling turf out, digging out sand off. So yeah, just we've had so many people help out that are really close to us, and it just feels like a real tight-knit thing that I could have, like you said, I could have done a marathon, and funnily enough, I am doing the London Marathon next year. But
you're ticking everything off the list there.
yeah, one by one. But it's really cool to do something that doesn't feel like a solo endeavor, where so many people have just come into it, got really stuck in. I have to say, I've just had so much fun with it. So it's been so cool.
That's so lovely. It seems like when the conversation of people and how they get into paddle, really, the idea of community, it always seems to get brought up so much, really. And that's something that Hugh and I share with as well. Hugh, the reason we have this podcast now is because we played paddle together through a mutual friend one time, and then about a year and a half later, we're sat with 2 microphones in front of us, and chatting shit sometimes on the internet.
And one of the main motivations, I remember when we first started talking about we should do something related to paddle, Connor told me, for me, the one thing that stands out about this sport before we got into whole like Premier Paddle Professional thing was the community aspect of paddle. I remember you telling me so yeah, that's lovely to hear, Nathan.
No, it is perfect, and it's incredible to see how often you're on the court. I am curious as well, for someone who does have like visual impairments as well, what is that like navigating the sport as well? Like how is that for you?
The first thing that's really tough, I guess, is accepting limitation, which is, I know I can try as hard as I can to sort of get a bit better. And I always know that there is, I guess, a ceiling to a degree that I can never push through, which is, it's frustrating at times, but at the same time, I'm also very conscious that I'm in a position where I can still do this. There's a lot of people that go through retinoblastoma journeys that don't come out the other end with any sight at all, and granted, there's people out there with disabilities that stop them doing pretty much anything. So yeah, I am unlucky and I can get frustrated at times, but at the same time, I also consider myself really grateful.
Yeah.
In terms of sort of challenges around it, I think one of the big learning curves is, take tennis as an example. You can become a backcourt tennis player. You have a long court to look down. You have a lot of time to see the ball. You can make a good educated guess at where it's going, and you have that time. Whereas paddle it's a front foot spurt.
Yeah.
The closer to net you are, the higher chance you got of winning a point. And on all those sort of time windows of seeing a ball, losing a ball, they're all so important in paddle. So it's been tough, but I just love playing. From the first time I played through to now, it's my favourite thing to do, and I never thought I'd say that about anything past football. It genuinely is my favourite thing to do. Probably the biggest challenge I find is venues. Funnily enough, and it is something I've had sort of mixed experiences with. I think particularly in the UK, we're really lucky to have some expensive but great venues.
Yes.
Where that real sort of touch around doing everything around the building is great. What I have found on my travels is some really suboptimum sort of venues to play at, be it through things like lighting, low contrast. So for a lot of indoor centres, whitewashing walls is often the cheapest way, but it provides a real low contrast of white on the colour of a paddle ball, so it can make it really hard to see. So I've had places where I've had to stop playing, and that's been pretty. It's not the greatest feeling in the world, and I suppose to essentially come out of those things and the world can feel a little bit unjust, as you think it's nothing to do with anything I can control. And if someone had asked somebody about contrast and things like that, maybe the considerations people would make. So there are times where it's frustrating, though. What I have found is people are really open to talk about things and often don't realise. I'm conscious that my condition is a niche, and what doesn't work for me will work for 95% of people. But what I'm conscious of is I do have a voice, and because of my mum and dad, they've always encouraged me just to have a go at stuff. Don't worry about it if it doesn't work out. And I think in many ways I consider that a bit my superpower, and that's really come from how they brought me up. But I'm well aware that there are a lot of people that are really sort of confidence struck and less willing to give these things a go. And you put those people in an environment that doesn't work for them, and it will deter them and it will stop them. So, really passionate about talking about these things and really sort of presenting these challenges to people if they're unaware. And hopefully with that, it just makes the scene venues better for everyone and gives everybody the chance to play somewhere that works for them. My expertise is sight, but I think the same could be said for all sorts, wheelchair access, things like that. It's all really important. I think these are conversations that do need to happen. And, if I can just do my little bit in raising the profile, then that's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's lovely. You said you mentioned you're in a niche, and I think that adds extra importance here of, you putting yourself out there, being able to, be a voice for some of the minorities of people that are having similar experiences that you've had. That, what you've just mentioned now is honestly some of the first times I'm hearing this, and these are thoughts that, I wasn't necessarily aware of. So it's incredible to see how you've navigated them, but also want to put yourself at the forefront of doing this and being a representative for that and pushing things away. And I know you mentioned your sort of on-court frustrations, right? And I'm curious about the people that are doing this 41 hours of paddle with you, and I'm sure they're there. It seems like you have quite a tight-knit friendship with them, and I want to know really if they help with your frustrations, and really who is the team that you're building with, and how did you rope them into playing 41 hours of paddle?
Yeah, so I think those guys are the most important part of all of this, really. It's been great for me to be able to talk and try and sort of raise the profile for CHECT and everything we're doing because of my story. But I think simply put, with all this, without their support, this whole thing just doesn't happen. So I suppose what we have is Benny. He's been my best friend since we were 15-ish, there or thereabouts. So, it's probably about 19 years. So I've grown up with him with everything. He's seen the good, bad, the ugly, and everything in between in my life, and is so in tune with things I struggle with, things that I managed to succeed with, and sort of push past. So he was kind of the first person that I sounded board the idea off, and he sort of, as he does, he was like, yeah, 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 sounds great, sounds great. But he was probably my first sort of paddle partner, if you will. And I dread, he's a very good player himself, and I dread to think how frustrating probably are times where I was trying to figure my sort of way out with paddle, and how to adapt and how to do that. So I can only imagine for him, as competitive he is, how frustrating it'd be. But you'd never know. He's probably the most supportive person you could ask for, really. He played a huge part in sort of helping me keep my head up, particularly when Izzy was ill and sort of going through it. So it feels really fitting that he sort of joined in on this, and that feels like a real special thing. Marcus and Dee Dee, we met through our local club, just at social mixins. What sort of started off as a once a week organised by the club, we'd all turn up, sort of say hello, then go about our sort of lives after that. Very much turned into a, when are we next playing? Are we playing tomorrow? Are we playing this afternoon? type of thing. And I guess when you're playing 2 hours at a time with different people, there's a lot to be said in 2 hours, particularly when you don't know people's starters. So you start to find out a lot about people and their lives within the constraints of the court. And obviously then through that, you sort of develop your friendships and everything there. So we've become this sort of tight-knit group, both on court and off court. As a group, we've been away to Spain a couple of times to play paddle. A little more recently, Marcus had a court installed privately, and lets us kind of use that almost like a hotel, if you will.
We got to find a friend like Marcus. That sounds amazing.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah. Well, if you're ever in the Northwest and you fancy a game, you have.
Oh, please, yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those guys. I mean, so we have Marcus, who really accomplished guy in business. You never know if you met him. He's the first person to give anyone everything he's got, and just such a brilliant giving guy. And then we've got David on the other side, just genuinely the most positive person on planet Earth. And I think that's going to become really, really important when we're on court for that sort of 40-hour window. It's that positive. I'm sure there'll be phases where we just don't want to speak to each other and what have you. And I think just that overarching positivity is kind of massive. But just as a group, I mean, through this, we've only grown closer. But, even before this was mentioned to any of them, we've just become such a great group of friends. We see each other every week without fail, give or take. When I approached Marcus with the sort of rough sketch idea of doing it, and said, is there any chance I could borrow your court for a weekend if we could pull this off? And without battering an eyelid, he said, yeah, but the only condition is I do it with you. Just about any other conversation prior to that is anyone saying, yeah, good luck, I'm not doing it though. So it just kind of tells you about really the type of people that they are. They're, as a three, probably the three busiest people I've met in my life, with with commitments and everything else I have going on. But what they've given to all this in the time, their energy, enthusiasm, it's just way exceeded anything I ever sort of thought it'd be. And really, that's all about them. That's nothing to do with me, and that's all to do with what they've given. So I couldn't have asked for a better group of people. And yeah, I consider myself really, really lucky.
That's amazing. Yeah, you kind of mention it there, right? Because yeah, you have the physicality side of the challenge, but really the mental is probably going to be the one that kicks in later down the line. And to have people surrounded that you guys have a lot of love for each other, a lot of support, a lot of camaraderie. That's the I believe the main driving motivator that's going to get you guys close to that 41-hour mark.
It's the key. I mean, it's all you need
100%.
is the people you want surrounding you for this like massive feat. It's a great moment now to talk about the challenge itself and the craziness that you're about to attempt with your friends. What does it take, to play 41 hours of paddle? If you could give us like, tell us a little bit about how you train your bodies, how you train your mind, like what are the expectations, nutrition, hydration, all that sort of stuff.
Okay, I'll tell you more about it in a week and a half. But I suppose in the prep leading up to, I'd say probably for the last 2 weeks, the four of us have probably averaged about 6 hours a day of paddle 5 days a week. And that's been our sort of way of getting into some sort of shape, hoping we'll be all right. What we have had is this distinct realization that we're all really bad at not being able to play at full tilt. And quite how that's gonna go, not too sure. But we've all been playing a lot of paddle. We've been in the gym a lot, which is I think probably more important than the paddle itself. If we have to crawl around with rackets, I think the four of us will. But I think fitness wise, we're probably in a good spot. And what we're sort of doing now is really starting to try and work out things like nutrition, hydration, and everything else that's going to help us. I mean, we are really lucky. So we have Marcus, whose business is Zuki, their health supplements and products. So we have a very good suite of access to hydration products and all sort of stuff that will help us. I think that fitness wise, we're all in a good spot. I speak for all four of us. I think we're all very fit people, mentally quite strong. But I think it's going to be the thing we've not quite been able to replicate is the feeling of doing it having not had any sleep, which I think is going to be probably the one biggest thing. We did turn up on Saturday with a rough sketch idea that we were going to play 12 hours of paddle as a bit of a dry run of what a really early morning might feel like. We dropped the ball a little bit because we'd all played 6 hours the night before, gone to bed, then got up to get there for 5:30, 6 o'clock. So we played 2 hours, and then it's probably the lowest energy game of paddle that we've all ever been involved in. So after sort of a couple of hours, we said, well let's drop it. We'll go for a walk and do that. So I think we've probably done our paddle hours now. And I think we're all in the place where we say we're fit enough to be able to survive it. And it's just now making sure that, we avoid getting injured and we're all sort of kind of mentally ready for it, rested and everything else. So we've got a lot of, we've called in a lot of favours. We've got mums, girlfriends, friends of friends that have all committed to dropping in with care packages of food and all sorts as we go along, which, because of the rules of what we're doing, we're only allowed off the court for 5 minutes at a time every hour. We can stack them, so we could play 4 hours and take a 20-minute break. Okay. But all said and done, we're not going to be able to do much in the confines of those breaks. So we're called in a hell of a lot of favours of people, and we're going to be relying on them to fuel us and keep us motivated as well. The other thing being that seeing each other for 40 hours is a lot.
Yes.
So I think we're going to rely on a lot of faces coming down, popping in, seeing us, and sort of having a chat just to kind of keep us upbeat and sane. I think is probably the word for it.
I think it's one of these things. Just hearing you speak about it now, and regardless really whether the outcome. Obviously, here at Off Court Podcasts, we're rooting for you guys, and we'll be following you guys 100%. On your journey. But speaking of the word journey, it seems like this whole journey is obviously a huge part of it, right? And as I said, regardless of the outcome of 41 hours of paddle or not, the people that are surrounded with you now, the partners of people here delivering food packages, almost rooting for you guys is such a nice warm feeling, right? And I'm sure that that's something that you feel already leading up to this event, basically. And obviously, the journey is amazing and it's sweet and it's very wholesome. But also we want to know, if you manage to do 41 hours of paddle, what is that going to mean to you on a personal level?
So I think personally for me, it's the money raised, right? Which is, it's a real close thing to me. And to be honest with you, I'll feel in debt till the day I die to the Childhood Eye Cancer Trust. And this is just a small way of me sort of doing something to give back, hopefully in a way that's really meaningful and changes something for them, or allows them to do something they've not been able to do, whatever that is. That's my part in it. I think that the 41 hours of paddle, to do something with 3 such close mates is something really special. Probably sort of that once in a lifetime type of thing. The actual Guinness World Record, I think, is probably for me more for them, which is, they've given months of their time to get all this in shape, get it set up. And it's kind of just like I think just a small way for me to say thank you to them. I hope they all know, I genuinely mean that, I hope they all know how thankful I am for everything they've done for it all. And I guess just trying to make sure that there's something in it for them. Not that any of them would ever ask for anything, but it feels almost important to me that they get something out of it that they can be proud of, and hopefully a memory for them as well that they take away with them for the rest of their lives as well, which is quite, it should be quite a cool thing. I didn't quite envisage just how hard it is getting in touch with Guinness World Records and getting an official qualified attempt set up. So we applied probably 3.5 months ago at vast expense to have it fast-tracked. Wow. And then we were trying to get one of their adjudicators to come down, because what I didn't realise is you can do all this, you video it all, and then you have to submit your evidence, and that goes into a long 16-week window. And so you could actually do the thing and not know for a quarter of a year whether you actually got a record or not. So we've really been trying to get an adjudicator down, and really luckily we had a breakthrough on it last week, though it's taken sort of reaching out to anyone we can, LinkedIn, and just about trying to find anyone that knows something. So that bit I think is really exciting.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I suppose it gives us no choice but to finish, because the adjudicator only comes for the last 8 hours.
Right. Okay.
So it'd be the dampest squib in the world if they turned up and we'd down tools and given up.
The pressure's there, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's pressure there. And I think just as a collective there, to get a world record awarded on the spot in the moment, having gone through all that, will be really cool. I think I probably underplayed just how cool it'd be.
Yeah.
But and I hope for those guys it's just a little reward for everything that they've done, which is just massive.
And regardless of the outcome, you get to give back to the organization that has supported yourself, your child Izzy as well through her early days of her life as well. And I think that's obviously, as you mentioned, is the main motivation here, really. And we have to ask as well, for someone that's been diagnosed with retinoblastoma, what would your younger self feel and think to see what you're doing now, and to see you putting the attention onto Childhood Eye Cancer Trust, retinoblastoma, and just generally taking part in physical activities here that you have your own limitations to. What does that mean to you?
If 10-year-old Nathan Young could see himself now you know?
I guess I'd see a change, I think, is what I'd probably observe. I think in my younger life, I've always been a really good example for just giving stuff a go and having a go at stuff. I've never been too bothered about failing, and I've done plenty of that at different things. So I think, but as I've got, as I sort of grew up, particularly through my teens and what have you, um, I was always really quiet about my condition. I never really spoke about it, and I think a lot of that was just I always wanted to fit in, and I never wanted people to see me as different or treat me different. And then having children, I think is probably one thing that's really changed that, and that would be the one thing that if I look back at myself has changed, and I'd see in myself is that having children now, I see just how much my parents gave me in terms of my confidence, my ability just to have a go at stuff. And it's become really important to me that I understand that and make sure that that is the case for Izzy and my youngest daughter, Sophie, who's not been impacted by RB. But particularly for Izzy, it's really important for me to make sure that she has the confidence to do these things, and that, if it means that I have to become comfortable speaking about that a little bit more open, I think that's one sort of learning curve I've gone on. And I think this event particularly has sort of kind of made me think, to hell with everything. I have to say my piece. I have to get it out there. And I hope, I guess, maybe one day she'll look back and see that too. And, maybe that'll shape some of the things she does, sort of moving forward in the future too. So, yeah, I think I'd see a lot of change in myself. I'd like to see the core has stayed the same, that I'll try everything. But yeah, this has made me get a lot more comfortable with speaking about things that, I spent a long time avoiding. And, I know it's my time to sort of do that now. And it's really important for me that, Izzy sees that and, and hopefully sees the benefit too.
Yeah. That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that, man. That was, really powerful. We've seen, I'm pretty sure we've seen Izzy on the court on your socials, hitting the ball around. She's got good form. She might become to be she might be the new Gemma Triai.
Yes.
It's been
should be better than me.
Yeah, but that's amazing. We can't let you go. We know that you are a paddle nerd, as we are, as everyone watching is as well. You are a Premier Paddle addict, so we cannot let you go without asking you a few questions about, your opinions on some players and things like that. So, two quick questions. If you could steal one shot from any pro player, who would it be and why? Like, what shot would you take?
I love this question because I came up with a really lazy, quick answer. And then I delivered it. And I'm going to give you both. So my immediate thought was I take Osberger's smash.
Fair enough.
And the reason I say that is I thought I'd blow the world out the amateur paddle scene very quickly with that. But then I had that sort of moment of reality check where it's like, that's an easy cop-out answer because the distinct reality is that never happened. So I started to think, what would be semi-achievable and realistic? And I'd take Chingotto's Vibora.
Nice.
Would be number one. Is that something that so effective yet somewhat achievable versus something that's completely alien and I know will never happen.
Yes, exactly.
Don't try and pull any of those off on the 40. Because if you do, I think your friends are just going to leave the court. If you 27 hours in, you just smash.
There's got to be one.
Now you got to whip out a couple of smashes every now and then just to keep everyone awake. I think.
There's got to be one.
Yeah, exactly. And just what happened last night. I don't know. I think you were busy on building a court. But it was the World Cup Pairs and the race between Chingotto and Galán and Coello and Tapia has just gotten even closer now. And obviously, maybe for the year and a half that you've been into paddle and watching Premier Paddle, we're all kind of scared of Coello and Tapia's dominance in this tournament and this whole season, really. However, in the last few games, Chingotto and Galán have answered back a little bit. And now the race is really on to the end of the season, which we're weeks away right now. Do you believe they can push and take them on points all the way to the end, to the Barcelona finals? Or is Coello and Tapia going to be number one forever?
Well, it's interesting, right? Because you go back towards sort of the middle of the season, and it genuinely felt like winner's fatigue, right? Which is I'm seeing the same thing happen over and over again without an adjustment, and it did feel like it could be a damp squib. I think they've pushed them. I think they've obviously quite clearly figured something out, haven't they? Which is a slight tactical shift and a way of being slightly more effective, I think.
100%.
It'd be interesting now because I guess Coello Tapia now, I'm sure we'll be having probably the same types of conversations that Chingotto Galán have probably spent a couple of months having, trying to figure out how they could actually get more competitive than a good first set and then being comfortably beaten thereafter. So I think they can push them. I think Coello Tapia got another gear in them, but I think the Chingotto Galán narrative is better. So as it stands right now, I'm enjoying watching it more than I was middle of the season. And I really, really hope it now carries on to the end because I think it set it up really, really well.
Yeah, there we go. Well, we can tell you're a true Premier Padel fan because these narratives are the ones that we've stuck to as well, and 100%. we're kind of on the edge of our seat now, biting our nails and hoping the number twos can take on the number ones because we're a little bit sick of it by now.
We had the same of just being like, okay, well, nothing's changing, everything's the same. So
that's all we could ask for.
Honestly, we all have an underdog as well.
We could have asked for, right?
Exactly, competitiveness. Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
And we kind of reached the end of our lovely conversation here, Nathan. Really, for the people listening as well, we hope you guys have enjoyed. But Nathan, could you tell us, where people can donate, where we can find your journey, where we can keep an eye on you, because we're about a week away now.
11 days
I believe.
So how can we and everyone listening support this amazing cause?
So I think probably the place I'd funnel everyone is our Instagram page, which is at World's Longest Paddle Match.
We're going to link it
we've sort of been documenting it. If you could, that'd be brilliant.
Absolutely,
we've sort of been documenting our little journey as we've been going along. We do have a GoFundMe page, the link's posted on there, which is where we're sort of welcoming anyone that's willing to donate. On the day itself, we're just sort of working through the tech now, which you guys will know far more about than I do, but I'm getting there. We will be live streaming it on the day too.
Oh, amazing.
Days.
Oh, amazing. Cool.
So we'll have a live stream there. Once we've got the link there, that will all go on our Instagram page as well. So if anyone's at a loose end at 4:00 in the morning and wonders what some abject paddle looks like, please tune in. Come and sort of let us know. And I guess if anyone that happens to be in the northwest of England or fancies a really long drive to come and look in, the warehouse itself we're going to open up in Blackpool. We're going to open that up for the whole weekend, so anyone can come, drop in, members of the public come and support us. We do have a fundraising evening going on the Saturday, so we're going to have a band, DJ, music, a raffle, a race night.
Amazing.
So we've got loads going on around it. And if anyone is in a position where they can get down and come and support us, you're absolutely more than welcome. And the more people we can get in there, the better. So if you can join us, please do. If not, give us a follow on Instagram, keep an eye on what we're doing, and you'll see everything there as it is.
Fantastic. Amazing. We'll definitely be in the chat as well. We'll tune in and we'll see you guys descend into madness over 41 hours, right? But we're absolutely rooting for you guys, and it's just been such a lovely conversation. I think you're doing such great things, and you have our full support here at Off Court Podcast.
100%.
I think our last question here is if the world record is broken, how are you celebrating? Are you having a pint of Guinness that you broke a Guinness World Record? What's the celebration looking like for you, maybe? Or is that a far thought from you right now?
No, we're going to get there. This is going to sound like a plug, but we very kindly have some guys from Robertson's Brewery and Farmyard Ales who are supplying us some beers for the event in the evening.
Amazing.
So it's going to be pizza and a beer.
Amazing.
Nice and simple. That doesn't get better than that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be simple, and they're the two things, non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Well, there you had it, guys. Thank you so much for listening in. Nathan, thanks so much for sharing your story. And as I said already, you have our full support.
Yeah.
You have the viewers' support here, and whoever's listening, please go check out Nathan's journey.
Yeah.
It's going to be absolutely incredible.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Nathan. We love what you're doing. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you everyone for listening to Nathan's story and this interview. Give our best to the rest of the boys as well, and everyone part of the team.
I will.
Go team. You guys are going to do this. We're here for you.
Thank
you. And you're doing amazing things. So thank you for that.
Amazing.
Thanks so much for responding to my cold call. Thanks for getting involved, guys. And if we get a chance somewhere down the track, let's please cross paths. Let's make sure we meet. I'd love to say my thanks in person.
Yes,
definitely.
So much.
And we'll get a game in as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
Yeah, please
Cheers,
do.
Nathan. Thank you very much. So yeah, there you have it, guys. The interview with Nathan. It was, as we said, an absolute pleasure and honor.
Yeah.
Please do follow them. Donate if you can.
Yeah.
It is an amazing cause. And thanks to Nathan for coming on. It was
Thanks,
a pleasure.
Nathan. We'll be tuning into the live stream, that's for sure, and seeing you guys descend into 41 hours of paddle madness.
Yes.
So all the best to you guys. Good luck.
Yeah.
And should we
let's-
move on to
let's get
our
into
next episode?
what are we talking about today, Connor?
World Cup Pairs, guys. We mentioned in the last episode a lot of
yeah.
confusion, a few explainer episodes on people being like, what is this? What is it? As we said, it's a major in disguise. 2,000 points up for grab. Really, the storyline here is that these are the moments that are pushing the top few pairings closer and closer to each other. And we kind of got a mad one, really.
We did. It was
insane.
insane.
El Clasico, Chingotto Galán, Coello Tapia. On the women's side, Sanchez, Josemaria, and Geometria and Delphi Brea.
Yeah.
Let's get into it now, I think. Okay, men's first, because I just want to talk about it because I was absolutely shocked. Really, I was shocked because they lost, Chingalan lost that first set 6-2.
Yeah.
And
but before we get into that,
Yes.
let's do a little overview of the tournament.
Okay, yes.
The highlights.
I'm excited. I'm excited, guys. Come on.
We got some cool videos to share and show
Yes.
you guys and discuss because it was a tournament filled with highlights. So let's start with I guess just the overview of the tournament.
What was your general vibes? How did you feel about it?
I mean, I thought they did a great job. The organization, the crowd turnout, the light show, the music.
For
all
the
of
men's,
that.
the crowd turnout was good. For the women's final, it was a little
quiet,
but I
lackluster.
can't complain.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we had sort of a mixed court speed. It was more on the slower side.
yeah, but what is this myth going around that some of the secondary courts and court 2 and 3 were not the same as court 1? When you have a sport like this, I think creating an even playing field, having some standardized levels of court environment here is quite important. Obviously, you can't get them identical.
Yeah.
But there was what was it, a drastic difference?
It's basically most of paddle tournaments, premier paddle tournaments around the world, because they have to build the courts in arenas,
Yes.
right? Even the secondary courts are also within the same complex,
Yeah.
usually. They build them on top of these they have to do a wooden kind of base beforehand. They don't just build it directly on the ground.
Right.
So usually, I've never done that, but I know people who have. When you step on these courts, and if you actually try to play paddle in center court in Roland Garros or
That's where you normally play, right? And
Yeah,
center
exactly.
court Roland
Yeah.
Garros.
if you were lucky enough to do that, you would see that the feel of the floor is kind of it's a bit.
There's a bit of give to it.
Yeah, there's a bit of give to it. It's not solid, so the bounce of the ball is usually it bounces less. Usually all the courts are like that, and they have slight differences. But in this case, center court was in the main arena.
Yeah.
And then the other courts were in the Rafa Nadal Academy in Kuwait, right?
Right, okay.
Which are I guess, it's more of a training ground for the paddle players there. So they are sort of the courts that us muggles play in.
Yeah,
Which is
exactly.
just you play on top of concrete. And then it's just it's really hard floor, basically, even though the turf is on top.
And if you guys think we're being stereotypical paddle players, finding every little grain to complain about, I think Galán also had something to say on this topic, right?
Yeah. He had a bit of the press conference, he was talking about how, maybe he first said priority for being number 2, but then he kind of pulled it back and said, all the work we put in to keep our number 2 position, they played a game that wasn't center court, and they hadn't had the chance to train there or try it out beforehand, so they were caught a bit off guard, even though they still won. But he just commented on that, whether like if you're at this level of paddle and it comes down to minute details and court speed and the balls and the whatever, the wind and heat and temperature, all that, maybe it's worth.
I think so, man. I think there's a lot of money that's back behind this, and I think it's only fair to the players as well that, like, if you expect the best out of them, at least give them the best possible conditions that they can perform in, do their thing.
Exactly, so they don't get injured as well. If they don't know about a certain court speed, they have to, they use their body in a specific way depending on where they're playing, right? So you could get some, like, maybe. I mean, at the end of the day, these guys are kings at adapting to their environments. But especially for the players that are a little bit lower down in the ranks, if you are playing your round of 32, round of 16 games on these secondary courts, and then you manage to get to the final and it's completely different court conditions for this tournament. Yeah, that's a bit of a mind fuck, really. Yeah. But we just thought we'd bring that up as well, considering Galán also mentioned that too. It is something that should be controlled, right, and not messing with the players' abilities and everything like that. Exactly.
But yeah, also, before we go into the finals, hold on, I've calmed down now. I chilled out. Yeah, we do have a few highlight moments from this whole tournament.
Some,
really,
like,
that
key
were
points of discussion as well.
Some mad points, some crazy points. Yeah. So we want you guys to sit down with us, review it with us, and
let
share
us know
your
your thoughts as well, because there's some, like, interesting debates here as well. What's the first one that we have, Connor?
We got Coello's point of the tournament, guys.
I mean, potentially point of the year, point of the history of paddle, because what he did was beyond insane.
I don't know how he
ridiculous.
moves like that, I'll be honest. Like he's
That's
like
the thing as well. Yeah,
let's get the clip up. We can all watch it together here.
You guys have probably seen it, but we have the quarterfinals, I believe, against Guerrero and Momo Gonzalez, and Coello had this to say. Wait, let me. Bajada. So far, all normal. Then we have this awkward.
What was that?
Rulo blocks it. Sidewall over the net. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see that replay from this angle if they put that in there. Oh my gosh. So what? He sidewalls it.
So he gets a ridiculous off the glass. This one. Where he gets it off the glass, like reverse shot. Easy smash for Guerrero. He blocks it.
Yeah.
And then leaves a massive court opening, and he just runs, like, with everything he has and just smacks it against the sidewall.
That's crazy.
And then it just, like, he gets lucky as well, but he gets an out of the court shot with that sidewall after those initial 2 shots.
That's insane plays.
Absolutely ridiculous.
That's so sick. Honestly.
I don't think there's a lot to say about it. Just, like, enjoy it, I guess.
That's why he's the king, really.
That's why he's the king.
He just pulls that out of nowhere, really, and then you're just kind of silent. If I pulled something like that, I wouldn't shut up about it ever, let alone him casually doing this. So that's incredibly sick. Definitely I could be contender. We'll do a review at the end of the year, guys, if you want that, and we'll do a review of the
actually quite cool
best points of the year. Basically, that's definitely a top.
But
contender.
I don't think I've ever seen in professional paddle. I mean, there's many. Man,
at this point, he's not playing
points.
paddle anymore. He's like doing parkour or something like that.
It's absolutely insane. So yeah, I guess he left us that little gem to enjoy.
Okay, well, we gave one love to one of the Golden Boys. We have to share it for another because I think there was
both insane and ridiculous.
It was I when it happened, and maybe you guys will be on this already, but when we were watching the men's final against Chingotto and Galán, something weird happened. I don't know. It's just you don't ever see it. You don't ever see it. You never see this, right? Okay, maybe Tapia's pulled off something similar.
Yanguas did the same thing like recently-ish, I think. But
a lot of dunks out of the court. They're at the net. Galán's an easy ball's coming and he can pop it out like this, no problem. And all of a sudden we see Tapia turn around,
he
put
just
his
like,
back to the net.
I mean, he's sort of given up. He knows the smash is short and that Galan's going to get the winner.
Yeah.
But I guess because of his positioning, where the short smash ended up in, Tapia was just like, well, I might as well just like try. I guess it's pure luck, obviously, but it's something that I feel like can only happen to
Tapia. Yeah, exactly, man. Literally. Yeah. Let's run the clip.
Short smash from Coello. He like closes his eyes, turns his back, puts his racket up, and he doesn't even believe it. He's like, oh, what? Wait, I got it?
Honestly, what an iconic moment there for Padel, man. Like, that is just and great shot as well, really.
Absolutely
like to see
ridiculous.
that. But yeah, as you said, luck, but I don't think luck like this happens to the average player.
He has to like apologize.
Yeah, he say sorry for that.
First,
man.
he was like, I cannot believe that I just did that. And secondly, he was just like, I guess I'm sorry, guys, because I didn't mean to do that.
It's Tapia doing Tapia things at the end of the day, right? Like, and you can't really ask more from that. Even if he's looking away back to the net, he can stick his racket up and the ball still finds the face of the racket somehow. I have no idea. I wish that happened to me way more, but it's Tapia at the end of the day. And
I don't think in our games there's a lot of short lobs getting dunked.
No. Normally we put them in the net. Actually, there's a lot of short lobs in our games, I reckon. But none of us are dunking it out, unfortunately, in style like that.
Yeah.
And that was just like another crazy point. Yeah. Obviously, these clips are coming from the best. Yeah. So, or one of the best.
And we still have one more. I mean, this is not like shot of the tournament. This is just something that happened that I think is worth talking about. And see what you guys think.
Okay. We're getting political now.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the semis against Koki Yanguas from Coello Tapia, which was an amazing game, by the way. They nearly got them. 6-4 down for Koki Yanguas.
Right.
First set. Second set was 5-all. It was very, very, very equal. And we had a break point opportunity for Koki Yanguas. For 30-40, so 40-30 up for Koki Yanguas, that they could take the 6-5 and serve out the set for a possible 7-5, right? And then this happens.
Okay, what's happening? Let's run the clip.
Slower court for them.
Okay, filthy drop shot.
And he just goes for
a
very risky like bandeja rulo to the fence. Yanguas and Koki, as you can see here, immediately call it out, and they're like, we got the break, let's go. The ref hasn't said anything.
Right.
And Coello says, I'm going to ask for it at the VAR, because that could be, it's a crucial point. And then the VAR basically rules it in. I mean, guys, you'll see the video just here. It is so close.
I'm thinking of that 40-degree rule, right?
Yeah.
Is that ball popping up enough for it to be a... Yeah. I think it is popping up a little bit.
Yeah.
I do think it is...
It's, to be honest, I have no idea. I can't even tell with the VAR, like zoom in and slow-mo. I don't know, but I guess if the VAR decides it's in. But like, what a moment. Even Tapia was saying it in the press conference when they asked him about it. He was like, look, you just have to go for risky shots at crucial moments sometimes.
Let me put that in the pocket.
He is Tapia. He's someone that he's not like unused to these situations,
Yeah.
So he just went for it, and like super unfortunate for Koki Yanguas, because that could have been a major shift in the game. They could have maybe taken them to a third set. I
mean, what do you guys think? Is that in or is that out?
Is that in? Is it out? Like, is it?
Yeah, I think on your average Playtomic game that you play at your local club, that's going to be a replay point. That's for sure. Yeah. But when you have VAR and everything like this, you have to rely on it. It's so close. I don't think it can get much closer than that. Hugh, is it in or out?
When I watched it live and then seeing the replay, I think it's out.
Right.
But then again, I don't know. If they called it in, then even Koki looking at the replay was like,
I don't fucking know.
I don't know.
This is gonna be the bane of Padel.
Honestly, I don't know. It could very well be in, but if I was there and I was at the VAR room, I would have called it out, I think.
Rip to the guy who has to make this decision and sit there and be like, I don't know if that's in or out right now.
Me, dude.
Just sweating here, like he's just like, I don't know, bro. Like I have no idea.
Yeah. It was super close. But what do you think? In or out?
That's in. I would call that in.
You would call that in.
I think that popped up enough for me to because if it was any like 1 degree less and it hit the mesh first, I think that ball would have just gone, not as high up,
As high,
basically.
yeah.
So I'm going to stick to the laws of physics here and have my back and say that went up just enough. I think if you look at that corner angle, it would have met. That's my own suspicions here.
Yeah.
Ugh, who knows at the end of the day?
Let us know, guys, what you think as well,
Drop it down. Yeah. And what else is happening in the world of paddle? Obviously surrounded by, the World Cup pairs. We have Bergamini here receiving death threats.
Kind of, yeah.
What's happening?
I don't know if it was death threats, but on his
or threats maybe. Let's not say death threats.
He just threats on his I don't know if you follow him on Twitter, on X. Sorry,
we call it Twitter, man.
Or if you guys follow him on Twitter, but yeah, he made a post about now that I'm not a sports betting person. I don't know, but
we're not gambling.
I'm sure it's been available for like quite a while now, but obviously you can bet on paddle, and people were betting on the FIP World Cup pairs, and they got knocked out early. Bergamini and
we forgot
what's his.
Because they swapped recently, huh?
Bergamini.
Guys, you're testing us here. Put it down below. Who's Bergamini's partner? Because he swapped with Paquito, no?
Yeah, he swapped with Paquito. Is
John, why can't we remember, guys? What the hell? Who's Bergamini's partner?
Campagnolo is with Garrido, and Bergamini is Javi Leal.
Leal, yes, exactly.
Leal Bergamini. Sorry, guys. There's
Live,
so much.
guys,
so
there's
many
a lot
players.
of names sometimes.
Yeah. Leal Bergamini should have beaten Maxi Sanchez and Jimenez Casas easily.
Yeah.
Someone apparently bet on that. That's what I'm assuming.
Who's out here betting on round 16 Bergamini games?
I guess he saw like the opening and they were like, this is a good bet. I'll make some money. Yeah. They lost, and he's getting like threats because he lost.
Look,
it's just ridiculous.
It is silly. Gambling and sports betting's obviously a huge industry on the sideline of most huge sports, right? Yeah. A lot of money goes to that, creates a lot of interest, and people are into it. It's gambling at the end of the day. When people are making stupid decisions like this, I know these are the few bad apples on the internet that, want to send messages like this. I think it's just absolutely absurd. And yeah, it's a shame for Bergamini that he has to receive hate like this, because it's just absolutely unnecessary. Look, if you want to be a fan of paddle, watch paddle, enjoy the wins and losses, but don't put your frustrations out just because you spent like half your paycheck on a paddle game that you had no idea what the outcome is at the end of the day. We were saying to Hugh, we watch so much paddle, like maybe we do have a good knowledge or a prediction on the storylines here. Mm-hmm. But yeah, guys, be a little bit smarter. Don't do that, and
don't like. DM.
Don't DM Bergamini, bro.
Don't DM players like
bro. Free Bergamini. Leave him alone, bro.
Yeah. But before we move on to the finals, one last, I guess, shout out highlights of this tournament, and just like I guess Premier Paddle in general. I just wanted to shout out Paquito and John Sanz, and their performance.
I'm the DJ, you're the guitar. Come on, man.
On this tournament specifically, but also like the run they've had so far.
New partnership.
They haven't been together for so long.
A new bromance, low-key.
Yeah.
I've been watching a few of their TikToks.
Yeah, they're on TikTok.
They're
dancing. Doing things. But then on the court, they're also like standing on business.
Yeah, exactly.
They were the ones that took out Stupa Lebron, being the underdogs in the quarterfinal.
Right.
With a very intense and interesting game.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up here. Yeah, you'll have it here for a bit. We're not going to get into it too much, but Paquito with 29 winners and 8 unforced errors. It was a 3-set match. It was 4-4 on the third set.
Yeah.
Stupa Lebron having many chances to break and get the 5-4 on the third set, and then possibly serve out and get the third and final set. But yeah, I had to stop watching because I had somewhere to go right at then. I actually I was on the train. I ran out of data. So I couldn't watch the whole thing. And then 20 minutes later, I was like, this is Stupa Lebron's game for sure. I saw that Navarro and Sanz took it. And yeah, it was a crazy game. But
is it also safe to say that LeBron's completely checked out of this partnership with Stupa now?
To be fair, I watched most of the game, and he was quite like supportive and level-headed throughout the whole thing. I guess maybe he knows now that he's, you know, that's done, and
there's another journey for him.
As you said, his eyes are on his like other.
Yeah. You know, I don't think there's any point now of LeBron getting pissed off or you know, taking it out on Stupa and stuff like that. You know, enjoy your last few tournaments together. Yeah. And you know, enjoy the game, move on. But yeah, you know, just to see that scoreline go that way. Stupid LeBron at the end of the day. I don't know if John Sanz and Paquito should be beating them. But
John Sanz is playing some high-level paddle. He's not one of my favorite players because he is kind of like, in this specific way, kind of like Osberger a little bit, where he takes a lot of risks.
Yeah, okay.
So he does have a lot of unforced errors, but also technically should have more winners. Like we see here, 30 winners and 21 unforced errors. That's quite a lot of unforced errors. I mean, it's 29 total for the team, and he did 21 himself. You know, there you go. But it's, you know, it works because Paquito is a safer player that doesn't take as many risks. They made a final in New Giza. Yeah. They made a semis in the FIP World Cup Pairs. You know, we've heard them in the press conferences. Paquito, you know, talking about how happy he is, that he's a lefty, that it's really good for him, that he said finally found someone who's maybe a bit crazier than he is on the court, which is like a big statement.
Which I was kind of surprised at, really, because Paquito seems like a, you know, in the best way possible, like a bit of a nutcase sometimes. You know, high energy guy, man.
Yeah, like, but he's like high and lows. Yeah. He'll get like super pissed on court.
Yeah.
But John Sanz is also quite fiery.
He can match his freak, bro.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Exactly. It's what Paquito was saying. He was like, we're both very hot-headed, so we can either have really good moments, but at the same time we can have like bad moments.
I see, yeah.
It's kind of like balance it out, but they seem happy, and he was like, we'll see about next season. We'll have a conversation about it, but so far,
could be some solid pairing right there for the next season. But there we go. Those were our little highlights from the World Cup pairs so far. Obviously, we're going to get into the finals now, which I was trying to get into a little bit earlier in the episode, but here we go. We are in the men's finals. Absolutely mad one, because when that first set went 6-2 to Coello Tapia, I was just a bit like, oh, come on, guys.
However, I knew, because the same thing happened in Milan.
Yes.
Where they got destroyed the first set, and then something happened in the second set.
They switched. Yeah, and we saw a switch up here, and we're going to get into it. But, you know, we'll set the context here a little bit.
Yeah.
25 games now, right?
25 games, you mean, between Clásicos?
El Clásico.
Okay. So 25 finals, essentially.
25 finals between Chingotto Galán, Coello and Tapia. And it only until recently we got a little taste of revenge. A little bit of the Golden Boys' blood a little bit has been shed over the last few tournaments. And something's going on in the back room with Chingalan, where they're catching onto something. They're working onto it. Because, look, prior to that, 17 wins for Coello and Tapia, 8 for Chingalan. Yeah. Disproportionate there, really. And now it's 17-9. Okay. Yeah. Still
having won. Let me add to that.
Yes, add to it.
So out of these last 4 confrontations between them, they've won 3.
Exactly.
You know?
So the consistency there, they're on the uphill, and we kind of saw that happen and switch off in Coello and Tapia switched off in the second set. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when we look at the race here a little bit, the gap between the Golden Boys, Coello and Tapia, and Chingalan is only 680 points
as of now.
That is crazy, nothing, guys. Really. Like, it really is
the
nothing.
The race is literally on.
Yeah, the race is on, guys. Like, and we have Dubai.
This was an essential win for
exactly.
Chingalan.
Because if Chingalan didn't get this win, it's game over, really. It
would have been,
impossible number-wise.
Mathematically? Yeah. Okay.
For them to catch up. And this was their lifeline, keeping them in the race, and they took it like absolute champs. Yeah. And now they're 680 points away. It's incredible. And we're kind of asking ourselves, you know, and I'm still not entirely sure, you know, the guys that run a paddle podcast, but like, what went wrong for Coello and Tapia in that second set? Mm-hmm. But look, let's break it down a little bit. Let's look at some of the strengths from Chingalan a little bit. Like, what are your key takeaways here from their performance?
It was a crazy game. We had a 6-2 first set for Coello Tapia, 7-5 for Chingalan, and then 6-2, you know, giving it back to them on the third set. Right. I mean, there's many things to talk about, but I think for me, like, one of the key aspects for me was the lobbing. and they even spoke about it on the breaks on the bench. They were like Galán, and after winning the second set, they were like, "You're absolutely right." To Jorge Martinez, lobs are the key in this match right now. The millimetric precise lobs, especially from Chingo, who's he's got his víbora also, but I think it's his best shot. It was ridiculous to see how he lobbed Coello, especially with such precision, making them stay back, not allowing them to push, not allowing them to smash either, because it was uncomfortable lobs. So I think his
lobs are so great. Obviously they're high, they're lobs, but they always seem to fall right on that backhand or the most awkward spot for Coello or Tapia as well.
And they just drop right where the glass is. Like it leaves no space in between. And you can see it like reflected with the stats. We're going to pop them up here as well. We have a 50% smash conversion from Coello, only 50%. So out of the 30 attempts he had, only 15 worked out. And then 4 out of 15 for Tapia, 26% for Tapia, which is really, really low. This is not only because of the good lobbing. It's also because the times they smashed, the court wasn't on their side this time around, I think. Or they weren't like hitting it as well as they usually do. So it was really poor smashing from them. But I think lob quality was one of the main things. What did you think about Chingo's víbora? Because we've talked a lot about it, and
I think obviously it's probably becoming, or now it's becoming this sort of like talking point, really. The narrative of Chingotto's season, right? Or this whole year for him has been, is he good enough for Galán? We're not getting into that now, but I think we're really starting to understand and appreciate Chingo's weapons here. His víbora is like insane to the point now where it's 3 tournaments now where we can see Coello is having a difficult time. And if Coello is having a difficult time, the defensive animal, you saw the clip that we played at the beginning of the episode here. Like, we know what he's capable of, but really, Chingo's height is a factor, for sure. But the way that he overcomes it is fantastic. Like 100%. The way that he's developed over the season, and he can stand for his own ground, has just been absolutely mad. Definitely a shot that I'd steal for myself, but to see Coello get pressed at the back like that, and
it is crazy how a player with no smash potential because of his height has managed to turn a shot like a víbora, which is an offensive shot. But his is so powerful, and the thing is, it's the precision. I feel like in this Clásico, especially this final that we saw yesterday, it's the swiftness and the precision he can make decisions, right?
Yes.
So he gets lobbed, he can't see. Galán is like da-da-da-da-da, like giving him all the information, and with a split second he can fine-tune and adjust the shot specifically to what Galán is saying. So shout out to Chingo's listening as well, which is something that it's not talked about enough.
I mean, look, then if you look at their chemistry as a team right now, right? And Galán is Galán, obviously one of the best, if not the best. It seems like Chingo is the activator for Galán, right? When Chingo can push to this level and turn on and listen to Galán and work as a team here cohesively, it allows Galán to go like this, like boom, like I'm here, I'm ready, and let's play. And this is kind of one of my suspicions. We're kind of breaking it down how they took that second set, 7-5 to Galán Chingotto after losing the first set 6-2. Like the mental comeback. Because I don't know about you, but I kind of saw it on Galán's face.
100%.
Early round in the second set, Galán was like, geez, man, we lost that 6-2. And really, my attention, my admiration went all to Chingo, because he
was the one that was like, dude, we've been here before.
Standing on business, bro. Like,
we're gonna do it again. I think you hit a really specific key point here as well, not only for this match, but for, I guess, this last end of the season for Chingalan is the team aspect. Galán, Chingo especially, he knows how to play for Galán. He's the one that has the power. He can get loads of winners. Chingo knows his job, and he's happy doing that, and it's a crucial and essential job to assist Galán, make it difficult for the others, so that they can leave easy balls for Galán. You know, we talked about it in the last episode, that the angles he's finding,
Yes.
playing those víboras to the mesh, making Coello have to go down, playing to the feet. He played loads to the feet.
Yeah.
Playing víboras precisely down the middle, right where the gap between Tapia's racket and Coello's racket is, so that they both either have to like reach or that they have to let it bounce, and then they can push and get the net, you know?
Yeah.
It is an amazing thing.
I think it's a really great moment that towards the end of the season now, the appreciation for Galán, and I'll put my hand up as well, and I say, okay, there was a moment this year that I was skeptical on their performance, because, you know, at the end of the day, on paper, on their results that they were getting, there was something that they were still trying to figure out, and it's something that we spoke about a lot over the last few episodes, is like, you know, patience in paddle with your pairings, and, you know, the fact that, you know, people swap around way too much,
believing in the project.
I think and I think they really both believed in themselves, and it is just so sick to see them, you know, go up against the number ones like this, and take the dub, because I think they deserve it,
100%.
especially at the World Cup Pairs, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
Paris,
it's a big tournament, loads of points on the line.
Yeah,
a very specific, tricky and strategic point of the season in terms of ranking, and they showed up and they delivered. I'm curious because, you know, we've talked about Coello and Tapia smash, how it wasn't on point yesterday.
Right. Yeah.
However, Galán smash.
That's
what did you think of that? Like,
dude,
what's the
guy's an animal, first of all.
Yeah.
He's an animal. So much power, and just because some of his other shots that he has in his wheelhouse are so good as well. When you think of the best smash on the circuit, sometimes Galán isn't the first name that you think of.
Yeah.
But if you take this into account on how poor Coello and Tapia smashes, I'll emphasize that again, how poor Coello and Tapia's smashes were during this game. The amount of dunks that Galán could just tap out like that, it got to the point where it was so frustrating to watch.
I mean,
man.
they gave him so many easy winners for Galán, and I feel like in terms of his smash, he wasn't getting lobbed a lot, obviously, because most of the lobs go on Chingo at the beginning of the match. But as soon as he sort of warmed up, he smashed a lot more towards the end of the second set and the third set than he did at the beginning. First set, he barely did any smashes, right? Actually, let's
pull the stats up here as
see
well.
If I can... 1 second.
We got you here. We're pulling up our internal stats over here to get the numbers and everything like that. But, you know, you're totally right that, you know, Galán's smash is just, especially in the finals there, was just absolutely insane, man.
Yeah, and if you look at the first set.
Yeah, we got the first set here.
Well, no, we don't have the specific stats for that. But anyway, it was basically he sort of warmed up to it.
Yeah.
And was able to, by the end, deliver these absolute bombs.
Yeah, he was.
Smashes, especially when, you know, Chingo was assisting him with, like, leaving him easy balls, you know.
No, the chemistry's there.
Yeah,
it's so sick.
It was just very assertive and precise, I think, his smashes.
Yeah.
And, you know, as we've seen before, just give me a second.
Don't worry, we got a stat guy in the back room here, guys. He's crunching the numbers right now.
Match, yeah.
There we
go. So he has a 16 out of 28 smashes, which is pretty good, especially compared to Coello and Tapia's like a 57% smash conversion rate. And I think that was one of the keys. 35 winners with only 10 unforced errors, as we're seeing here. I mean,
35 to 10 is incredibly consistent,
it's crazy,
man. Like, it is
compared to 30 for Coello with 12 unforced errors and 17 winners, and for Tapia 9 unforced errors. You know, it's a big difference.
Yeah, it is actually sick to see them like dismantle like Coello and Tapia, right? You know, they lose that first set 6-2, goes 7-5 in the second set, and then final set where Coello and Tapia are still in it. They lose 6-2. You know, 6-2 for Chingalan.
They just went up, and up. Sorry.
And it's one of our last talking points here on Chingalan is their net pressure, right?
Yeah,
which is funny because normally the conversation would be completely flipped. If we took account the rest of the tournaments earlier in the season, you know, we were always like, Coello and Tapia, they strangle at the net, they suffocate them, and they're almost fighting fire with fire here because they've been able to push them back to the back of the court and hold their you know, the offensive here. And it was just like it's almost a little bit strange to see Coello and Tapia at the back of the court and like, almost out of position and getting moved around like this. But I genuinely think the way that Chingo and Galán play together and their aggression when they need to be that aggressive is one of the reasons as well why they got a result as well.
One of the main things I realized now that you're talking about net pressure is at the beginning of the match, the pit pats at the net, which is one of the main resources Chingalan rely on.
Yeah.
The two dudes you want if you're pushing the net is Chingo and Galán because they have insane reflexes. They're really good at that. But you've also got Coello Tapia in front of you. At the beginning, they weren't winning many of those pit pats at the net.
Yep.
They were bringing the fight, but Coello and Tapia came out on top. And then slowly, they started to win more and more and more. Even Gus Prato at one of the breaks on the on the benches in like second set, I think, or something. He was like, guys, I need you to, I know we're at the net and it's like quick reflexes, but even then I need you to volley.
Yeah.
I can't, you can't just block it.
Yeah.
Because then that leaves them an easy floaty ball for them to kill. So do that, And just to finish, something that I realized as well now that we're in like analyzing Chingo.
Yeah.
His Bibora, which then goes to Coello, which then he blocks with fairly easily if it's going to the body, if he's not playing angles. Usually, up until now, kind of, Chingo would let the ball, it's a return, but it's not a winner return from Coello because he's returning a Vibora. So it would be like a floaty ball that, goes towards the direction of Chingo.
Mm-hmm.
He would usually let it bounce so that he could then like lob again or try and play an angle or something different, right? What I realized this time around is that after Coello's block, Chingo is transitioning like a bullet straight to the net. So instead of letting that ball bounce, he's running, going straight forward and playing that quick, I guess, it's like it just goes to the body of Coello usually, or maybe Tapia, so that then he can push with Galán, like not leaving any space.
Exactly. He's just not letting them breathe. He's not giving them that extra second or two that maybe Coello and Tapia can cook something special. And he's putting stress on them and he's making them work and he's freaking them out.
Yeah.
And it's great to see Chingo be that aggressive, right? Mm-hmm. And as we said earlier in the segment, like to activate Galán and make sure they both switch on and they're playing as like this cohesive unit, man.
Yeah.
Like, the storyline here as we get to the end of the segment for the men's final is that, the race feels actually so exciting now. We have Dubai P1, we have Mexico Majors, and then we have the Barcelona finals. Mm-hmm. Like, these are really big tournaments to come up on to end the season. And the fact that, we're watching a league where it's a point based league and it couldn't be any tighter really. Like 680 points is nothing. One game can change everything, guys. So if you weren't as excited as we are now and you're following with us, you have to tune into the remainder of the season because oh my gosh, man, like anything can happen right now, and it would be crazy. It would be crazy if Chingalan can do it.
It would be insane. Like, I mean, it'd be I think it'd be very well deserved the way they fought, the way they've grown as a pair, as a team, the way they've adjusted their game specifically for this rivalry against Coello and Tapia.
Yeah.
Especially from Chingo's side, but just cohesively, how they've done it has been amazing and a joy to watch. And I don't know, hopefully the end of the season is as exciting as it can be.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Chingalan can catch Coello and Tapia on points?
Yes, I think they can. I don't know if they will, but I think they can. They've shown what they can do.
I think they've switched on.
The last four games, the last four Clásicos we've had have gone very differently to how they usually go.
Yeah.
And I'm just a bit scared, I guess, of, Coello and Tapia going back now to the drawing board and being like, okay, we did that. Now they did this.
Yeah.
Now we have to do that to counter this. It's that like chess pieces moving around,
it is incredible.
Super tactical, super,
I mean, this is when the best are pushing the best in a sport, really, and then you kind of get pressure makes diamonds as well. But this is really when the test of the paddle IQ, working with their coaches, analyzing, where they went wrong in these games and everything like that.
Yeah.
And part of me is also a little bit scared because it's Coello and Tapia at the end of the day, where
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, if they do switch up and they're like really good,
Yeah.
like really good on one day, like they're gonna absolutely crush as well.
Yeah. So do you think they can?
I think obviously for Galán and Chingotto, if they were to do it, it would be an amazing feat for them, because I think the odds are against them a little bit, because that means Coello and Tapia have to maybe not make every final, come on, they're almost guaranteed a ticket into the final. But then once Coello and Tapia get to the final, Chingalan have to beat them, and that's there's so many variables here that it can't be a definitive answer yet. Do I want them to win? Of course, man.
Yeah.
Like,
it would add so much.
Yeah, it just adds too
excitement.
much. Yeah, exactly.
It would be like a David and Goliath.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's so many points this season where it felt so far away.
Yeah.
And then over the last few months, over the last few tournaments, people are like, hang on a second. Like, what this is actually not that far. And then you look at the points and you're like, actually, they're not that far.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they have their overall points as a pairing. Yeah, that's separate. But we're looking specifically
of this season.
Which is what matters, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's almost down to the wire. And I want it to be as close as possible. I really want it to be, I don't really care who wins on points, but I want it to be a deciding factor in the Barcelona finals. The points that they get for there.
I mean, that would be
you know
amazing.
what I mean? Like,
if it was like mathematically, like it comes down to this one game.
Someone who's good with numbers, let us know. Crunch the numbers, because we're bad sometimes. But like, if it's possible that they both get to the Barcelona finals and they play each other the Barcelona finals, and whoever wins from this tournament takes the number one, I will literally lose my mind, bro. Like, I'm there for the storyline, and I think that would be insane.
Yeah.
Might not happen, but that's what I want, basically.
Yeah.
And at that point, if that's the situation, I don't care who wins, because I love them both. But it's super sick. So obviously we're excited, and we can't wait for it. Yeah. And we should definitely move on to the women's final.
Just before we do that, one last thing. Just to, I think, a stat that should be like just brought up briefly. In terms of break points.
Oh, yeah.
19 break opportunities for Coello and Tapia, only 3 converted.
Yeah.
And 4 out of 8 for Chingalan. So a 50% conversion for them. Something that we don't see, like, it's not usual for Coello and Tapia to be this bad when it comes to breaking serve.
I love the break point stats, because I think it's actually really introspective and like a reflection on the energy of the game, the pressure on the game. Because often, we've looked at a lot of stats from a lot of these tournaments now. 19 possible break points or opportunities is so high. Like, it's really a lot of pressure that Galán and Chingotto have to also be like, okay, let's not let them break our serve here, man, because then they're gonna serve, and then they can. Then next thing we know, it's 5-3 or whatever. Similar to what happened in the first set. That moment where they're getting into that situation of, okay, here's a break point, 19 times, and they only converted 3 of that. I do think that reflects poorly on Coello and Tapia, that they couldn't survive in those high intensity situations. And look, the ones that Galán and Chingo got into, they converted half of their situations. So
it's one more break point
exactly.
than the others.
It's and that was the vibe of the game, huh?
Yeah.
It went up and down, sideways, and they managed to take it home, and that was so sick, man. But
what happened on the women's side, Connor? Because we had an interesting situation game as well.
Obviously not as high intensity as the men's final, I'll say that, because Sanchez, Josemaria, who were playing Geometria and Delphi Brea, they took it home 6-3, 6-3, 2 sets. I was a little disappointed in Triai and Delphi, because I'm a big fan of them. I love watching them play. I think Geometria is genuinely one of my favorite players to watch. Yeah. And I felt frustrated with her. I could see her on the court. She's making so many mistakes. Delphi as well, and it just felt like it wasn't their day, which isn't like the most analytical thing to say, but I think in moments like this, it happens. It wasn't their best day. It wasn't their best performance. The best team won, and that's Sanchez and Josemaria. Look, the points gap now on the women's side between Geometria and Sanchez, Josemaria, it's been a great year for the women's side of paddle, because that place for the number 1 spot has been highly contested between both of these teams. They're both so good. Ari Sanchez
and they took it. Triai and Brea took it like halfway through the season. They overtook them. So it was like...
It was like a flip-flop at one point. One tournament, they win. They're back at number one. One tournament, they win. They're back at number one. It was so tight. And it got to the point now where, okay, Geometry and Delphi Brea, they switched on. They created a big points gap here. And, you know, for those who don't know, Sanchez, Josemaria, they've been together now, playing as a pair for 2 seasons now, I think. Yeah, 2 seasons being the number 1 ranked pairing.
This might be their maybe third?
2.5 or 3. Something like that.
It's a long time.
In Padel world, that's a long time, I think. You know, if you last longer than a season at this point, that's like a long partnership in my mind. And Sanchez Josemaria got their revenge a little bit, huh? They showed up. I mean, Josemaria for me was an absolute cannon this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, she carried that.
She did carry. She was the aggressive player, especially on the right side as well, if you think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did feel frustrated. You know, we'll pull the stats up here as well.
Yeah.
You know, actually, before the stats, let's look at the points, really.
Yeah.
Okay, Sanchez Josemaria are now on 13,850 points, which is 1,510 points behind Triai and Brea.
Okay.
680 points for the men's side, that's tied. 1,510 is also still very tied because we have Dubai P1, Mexico Major, and Barcelona finals. If you look at Geometry and Delphi Brea's track record, I'm pretty sure they've won every major this year.
Yeah.
They're able to handle the pressure. That's why it was kind of weird watching their game yesterday where they just felt like they didn't necessarily show up. And I really hope this kind of kicks them in the butt a little bit and, you know, makes them, obviously they're still in it. They're still leading the points. I have a soft spot for them. I kind of want them to win this season. That's just my bias.
I think they deserve it. Yeah,
I think they do deserve it. And you know that was also like, you know, a question as well. But we can ask it for the men's and women's. You know, considering this is the World Cup pairs. You know, essentially your bragging rights or what you get crowned as is the best pair in paddle, right? Yeah. That's what you get to walk away with for the next 2 years.
Which is a bit like, it's a bit weird because technically the best pair, I mean, this depends on, you know, who you ask or whatever, but technically the best pair in the world is whoever ends up being number 1 at the end of the season. Like for that year you've been, but
we're all just as confused as you guys are when it came to this tournament.
You can't just give it to someone for like that because they won one game. I mean, Coello and Tapia have won 17 times. Chingalan have won 8 or 9 now.
Statistically, the numbers are on paper. It's an accurate reflection.
So it's a bit weird.
That's why this tournament was a bit weird, but we'll take it down for the points. And the fact that, you know, to go back to the men's, Chingalan also picked up another 2,000 points, closing that gap. Another great opportunity if you look at Sanchez Josemaria now, who are in second place. This was a great opportunity for them to pick up 2,000 points as well and push that and put the pressure on Geometry and Delphi Brea to show that, look, hey, I know you enjoyed the crown for a little bit. Don't forget we're still here. Yeah. And, you know, it's down to the wire a little bit. But, you know, let's look at some of the unforced errors on Geometry and Delphi's side, I mean, right?
I guess straight off the bat, like the thing that really, I guess, like raises alarms here is both Triai and Brea with like negative winner ratios.
Yeah.
Triai with 15 winners, 16 unforced errors, and Brea 8 winners, 10 unforced errors. They missed more than they generated winners, you know, which is always like a really bad stat for any player to have, right?
And just to reflect that, I'm looking at Josemaria's winners here and unforced errors.
Yeah.
22 winners to 12 unforced errors.
I mean,
12 winners and 12 unforced errors for Sanchez as well. Obviously, I think my MVP for this game was definitely Josemaria because she's an absolute cannon. And she converted those points for them, and it was just incredible to see. Overall, 34 winners versus 23, 24 unforced errors versus 26. When you have that much more winners, you can make those same amount of mistakes.
And also more break points. They broke them 6 times. They only broke them 3.
They were all over them. They were really all over them. And it kind of sucked to see a little bit. So I hope they come back for Dubai P1 and kind of tune in a little bit and realize, okay, we are still number 1 and go in with that confidence. Mexico Major will be a big one. Obviously, there's other players like Claudia Fernandez and Bea Gonzalez who sometimes can create ripples in the road going to the finals. So we'll see. They've been a little bit quiet recently, but hopefully they pop back up on the scene as well, going to the end. But I think also if there's anything else we need to cover, but I think we are at the end of our episode, guys. If you tuned in for the whole Nathan segment, thank you so much for that. It was a really lovely chat we had with him, and we wish him all the best again. we are also just as excited for the race building up to the finals here.
We've got Dubai next week,
which Hugh will be
which
there
I will
for.
be there in person, in the flesh.
So you're going to get some sweet POV content right from the scenes from Hugh.
If any of you guys are there and you want to, link up, whatever.
Say what's up.
Yeah. Let me know, and maybe we can arrange to meet and have a chat. It'd be lovely to meet
exactly
our listeners in person. But yeah, we'll see you next week with another episode. We still need to figure out exactly how we're gonna do it because I'm gonna be away. But we're definitely gonna bring you some on the ground.
Yeah, guys, we're three tournaments away from finishing a whole season here, so it's been a wild ride.
And also, I think it's good to mention, next week will mark
our 1 year
anniversary.
We'll put some
Awkward
we'll put some confetti or something
Not
like that.
Not yet, but the Dubai P1 was the first
episode we did in
2024.
If you guys have been riding since then, we appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Fun journey, a wild ride, and we're still here and we love it.
And we still have loads to go.
Yeah,
so,
honestly.
We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Peace, guys.